Cat 3. I'm actually having problems pulling up data now. It's a lot of, don't know why, things are going offline. So anyway, we'll try to bring some more data. Let me see if I can get one of these other sites to come up. Looks like, yeah, they're up, they're working. Let's go to satellite here. Let me see if I can get a satellite going here. Yeah, there we go. It's beautiful. Let's get the sector here. There we go. Let's go off Tampa here. Anyway, it looks really beautiful. Look at the storms exploding. Not quite an eye wall, but it looks really Cat 3 120. So it's trying to clear out, and it's looks really good there. Let me see if I can get a IR. Looks really good now. Let's go upper load here. Hello everybody, good afternoon. Anybody got any questions? I think I'll try to answer them for you. You see the intense convection. Almost got an eye now. Probably the next hour or two we should clear out. We should get an eye here soon. Southwest of Tampa, it's right on schedule, people. It's Cat 3 back southwest of Tampa. It's exactly what the models had even yesterday. Cat 3 now, and it's back southwest of Tampa. And we'll look at radar on it. Let's go to, I'll jump over the live radar now. Let's go to Tampa. I'm up to the north up here, and numerous tornado warnings out of back southwest of Tallahassee. Let's go to the Tampa radar here at Ruskin. There's the eye. Look at the lightning in the eye wall now. So the eye wall, we got Cat 3, and here's the big stream damaging winds. Obviously, it's around the whole eye, and we'll notice here the eye wall is it's getting a little bit smaller now. Now that it's a Cat 3, it's got a very solid eye core now, and this is you're gonna have over the next couple of hours. Actually, the next 6 hours is this intense, heavy. Southeast, east, and northeast, this big blob of these intense core thunderstorms, they're going to start wrapping around. You're going to start seeing 65 dBZs wrapping all the way around. We're going to become a very centric eye wall, and the eye wall is going to start shrinking over the next 3 or 4 hours. This is Cat 3 now, and it's going to continue to intensify. I think we will be at Cat 4. I think, yeah, we're going to make Cat 4. We're good. Yeah, it's got time to make Cat 4, even a high Cat 4. At 220 miles an hour, you got another 10 hours over water. There's a high likelihood it's going to be Cat 4. So anyway, it's coming to the north there. It's maybe moving just slightly east of due north. And look at the loop going here, and we'll see where it's at back south here. Let me do this. See how it looks here. Yeah, like north-northeast. Yep. And the other thing that's starting to happen, well, my co-workers reminded me of, is that, and his little northeast jog, what's happening is earlier on, when you had the lighter convection bound south here, you saw that earlier this morning we had these little, I call them jogs, essentially, where it does that little stair step. You can look on satellite and it's like, oh no, it's moving east. Then what happens is when the convection gets deeper and higher in the atmosphere, then it starts getting affect more of the trough, right? So these tops are getting really high. So then the upper flow, as it's backed and this trough's digging in back west here, then as these tops get higher, it will want to follow the trough and start moving back. It'll get back on track. You could say, hey, it's to the right of the track, but then as it gets higher, it starts pulling back north. It'll get back on its track it should be on, right? And if you see, it's almost straight south of Tallahassee. And the hurricane models are basically hurricane tracks similar. It's something like this approximately, right? And then it kind of like hooks back like this. That's made a little bit more dramatic, but it kind of hooks back to the northwest there after 7 p.m. So it's kind of the general take of what's going to happen. So we'll see if it continues to do that track. My gut is I think it's going to end up being probably just east of Tallahassee's landfall. I think we're in Perry. I wouldn't be surprised if landfall is not kind of in this general area, like right in here. It's just somewhere in this general area is landfall. Most of the 12Z models came in. I'm talking about that. Most of the models have it in the upper part of the back bay there. Some of the models have Cat 3. Some of the models have Cat 4s here, and some of them have put the right there, and they'll have it kind of an oblong eye, and it's heavily loaded on this eastern side. Several of the models I looked at, T-meter winds are 120 to 135, the mid Cat 4. The other thing that's kind of even more interesting or more outrageous, and most of the models have this, is that at 850, it's like 5,000 feet At 8:50, this is towards 7 to 10 o'clock tonight. The winds in this northeast part of the bay here, if the hurricane's here, it's heavily loaded, and the winds are, this is at 5,000 feet now, non-surface. Winds are anywhere from 130 to 170 knots out of this direction over this area right here. So if you get winds at 5,000, anywhere, let's call it 150 miles an hour to 180 mile an hour winds, almost 200 mile an hour winds at 5,000 feet, not at the surface, at 5,000. You got southeast winds here at 850, over 150 knots, and most of the models have that for about the first 100 miles in here. Then you're going to have just extreme, because all at the same time you got these heavy, you're going to have these heavy 60, 65 dBz cores moving north with that eyewall, and with those kind of extreme winds right above the surface of 130 to 170 on the latest data, then you're going to get these big bursts of winds will come down. So again, I'm more focused. The storm surge we know is going to be extreme, but I'm more really focused on the wind impact, which is going to be massive and catastrophic from Tallahassee. Obviously, Tallahassee area is going to be more on the western edge of the extreme damage, but the area I think is going to have extreme damage, wind damage, is going to be in this northeast quadrant here, which is going to be east of Tallahassee, Monticello, back down here to just east of Tallahassee, on up into Georgia, and then you come over here back down to my south of Perry, and then back over here to Live Oak, and then on up to Valdosta and up to the north there. This is the area where I think after dark we're going to have just extreme, massive, catastrophic wind damage. That's my area of just horrible stuff's going to happen after dark, right? You're going to have massive wind damage. You're going to have a lot of buildings collapse, a lot of roofs ripped off, from Perry all the way up into Valdosta. This is where the area, Monticello, Madison, also Perry, Salem, Mayo, down Live Oak, White Springs, Jasper, this area, this whole area right here, this is where you're going to have massive wind damage, right? As this thing comes inland, and obviously look at all the, didn't realize we had so many tornadoes up north going on today. Wow, that's amazing. Look at all the tornadoes in Georgia going on. That's crazy. And as this is get worse as overnight like this, oh my gosh, that's just crazy. I didn't realize how bad the tornadoes were up on that boundary up there. Look at that. That's just absolutely amazing right now. Look at all the tornadoes in progress. It's yeah, look at 1, 2, 3, 4 tornadoes in progress. It looks like they're pretty good couplets lifting north on those boundaries. Look at the couplet tornadoes forming on those bands. Wow, that's absolutely amazing. Up there, that's actually significant. Look how their individual cells there. That's pretty crazy, right? Yeah, that's a very impressive broken line of tornadic supercells. Looks like near Broxton. What do we got? Tornado emergency manager reports tornado. It's a report here. Tornado sign on the ground here. 268. No property damage observed. The report that was to northeast of Broxton by the emergency manager. That was a few minutes ago. Let's look at that one since it's already been tornado and strong couplet there. And let's look at the report and looking back it up and just watch how it goes over Broxton here. And there it is right there. Yeah, very strong couplet right there. Looks like tornado is probably still in progress. Let's look at if we got CC, if we never tripped CC, if we how big the debris got. But we'll see if it ever has just a little bit, not much. Yep, packed up to the northeast there. But anyway, tornadoes ongoing. They're fast moving, but those are all looks tornadic, very suspicious there. Tornadoes, significant tornadoes. So anyway, a lot of flooding going on back south, also back down at Tampa Bay area. There's some inland flooding, some storm surge. There's also storms that are developing hooks and rotation offshore now, just west of Tampa Bay and Clearwater Beach. All these storms are now starting to develop, couplets on them. They're moving on shore. There'd be tornadoes, but water spouts offshore. That's going to continue to intensify. But the eye, it's you can see the eye. It's strong Cat 3. Matter of fact, I was talking to some other chasers here in Perry, and we were looking at the wind fields. One of the things I do quite often is it's like I was telling you earlier today, it's all about the eye, right? So I had this earlier, we were saying 95, 98, and I said, look, we're 15, 20,000 feet there. We're not at the surface, but when I start seeing a big area like this, that we're getting a big field of, and this is in the kind of in the southeast quadrant, not even the northeast quadrant. I say a big area like this of 100 plus mile an hour winds over a big, huge area, 20 by 30 miles, 105, 110, 115, 109. When you start seeing the big winds like this, big area and increase like this, and the southeast, northeast quadrants, it's telling you that this hurricane is a big ball of energy, heavy convection around here, and this high wind, this 100 mile an hour wind plus 110, 115 is going to rotate up around, and this thing's going to be just a wall of 120 to 140 mile an hour winds as this thing comes northeast. And again, this is not surface. This is about 5,000 to 8,000 feet above the surface, but it's showing you that the hurricane's intensifying, and this number is going to go up dramatically over the next 6 to 9 hours. These numbers are going to go way up as this eye approaches this. It's a major hurricane now, and it will continue to intensify. What I'm also really rapidly impressed with the last 15 minutes, Because look how, not only has the structure gotten way better, look how intense this eye is now. You got lightning in the inner eye wall now forming. Pressures are falling. This is telling you you've got a rapidly developing hurricane now. It's Cat 3, and I think it's going to make a hard run at a mid Cat 4 before landfall. I think it will make Cat. My gut is right now it's going to make Cat 4 before landfall, and most of the models show that also as well. All the hurricane models show a very high 3 and a mid Cat 4, kind of like just southeast of Tallahassee. A couple models have it like right here, and then there's a couple models have the Cat 3 to 4 right in this area, and they kind of lift. It kind of lifts up like this, right? After dark, kind of in this general area, just west of Perry here. So that's kind of the source. You're going to have a massive storm surge. St. Mark's, all this area over here is just going to have a catastrophic storm surge. Even south of me here, this is all going to be 20 foot, maybe 25 foot now in this whole area, which has been forecasted for the last 48 hours, right? That's really about it, folks. Just hanging out, trying not to drive around too much, and we'll see what this thing's going to come ashore. But it looks really intense right now, right? Look at that. We're going to have at some point, we're going to have an eye pop out, like a really solid eye, where we get just really pretty intense eye. Not yet, but it's almost. If you look at that last frame, I'll stop the loop here. If you look at the last frame, it's not. You see how the deep coming. This is where you're getting the thunderstorms of the overshooting tops, which you're also getting. It's not quite there yet. It's still kind of messing the eye there, but with all this heavy convection now, I would give it another couple hours. I think by 5 o'clock we're going to start going to almost a pinhole eye, maybe a 5-10 mile diameter eye. But we're going to clear out in the next couple hours, because as this thing deepens and the pressure keeps falling and the convection keeps getting more intense around it, we're going to clear out the center at some point in the next couple hours. We're going to have a solid eye as this thing comes up to the northeast. Northeast. We're gonna have a stadium effect. I fully expect we're gonna have a stadium eye as it passes Tampa. The model says we're gonna go to Cat 4 at about it's 3 o'clock, 2:45 Eastern. By 7 p.m., 5 to 7, we should be approaching high Cat 3 in this general area, northwest of Tampa. That's what the models explicitly show, right in this area. But another 3 hours, then I think we're gonna be knocking on the Cat 4 doorstep. That's what it looks like, somewhere in this area. That's what it looks like. So anyway, that's kind of live update right now. And this is the update from the National Hurricane Center. Hurricane Things is the major, winds 120, makes Helene a dangerous category 3. Additional strength is expected before Helene makes landfall. I think they don't say Cat 4, but they're implying Cat 4, higher than 3. It's going to be higher. So anyway, we'll see what happens, and hello from England. So we'll give you more updates later, guys. We're staying online, and we hope we bringing some more updates. Right now in Perry, this is the sky conditions. You would never know, honestly, that we got a major hurricane coming. I mean, quite honestly, it's just, there's all the chaser guys over here and ladies. I got Sarah and Jeff and a whole bunch of people from all over the United States here. Got a bunch of people. You can see, I've got lots of gas. Look at the sky. The clouds are starting to pick up mid-level. And by the way, it's really hot. It's just steamy here. I don't know if we're 90, 92, but it's hot and sticky. It's really sticky outside. And anyway, the breeze is just now picking up here, right? So we've got low clouds moving in, and I'm looking southwest, and you see the clouds overhead right now about 5,000 feet roughly, where the low clouds, the moisture is right there. It's around 3,000 to 5,000 feet. The model forecast, 3 to 4 of the models forecast in the Perry area, 8 to midnight tonight, the winds at 5,000 feet here, and anywhere from 150 to 190 miles an hour at 5,000 feet. Winds at 150 to 170 knots at 850, which is just absolute insanity if that verifies, okay? That's not surface, that's at 5,000 feet. And if you have heavy storms and cores, which the model predicts we are in that northeast eyewall, that'll help mix down to the ground. Not all of it, but you'll have these bursts, right? These really incredible, crazy numbers, right? If it gets up to high Cat 4, not saying it will, but if it does, you just got to watch radar and satellite and the Hurricane Hunter. And as it's approaching coast, you start getting 8, 9, 10 o'clock. If we start getting that high Cat 4, if it gets that high or 5, I'm leaving Perry. I will not be in the city if it's a mid-high Cat 4 or 5. I will. The chances of injury or getting critically injured in this city is high. If it's a 4 or 5, I will not stay in Perry. I'm moving off to the northeast, get out of these, look at all these trees and power lines. You get 120, 140 mile an hour winds in Perry, and I'd say 70% of the buildings are going to be heavy damage or catastrophic. A lot of these roofs are coming off, all these telephone poles, all these trees. That's just, as you go into town of Perry here, back in town, you've got heavy trees covering every block. If I just went over here 3 blocks, I'd have trees above the road, right? I'm kind of in an open intersection here at the shopping center, right? But if you just go 3 blocks over here, 90% of Perry, you're covered with heavy trees over your houses. All these power lines will be coming down. These roofs will come off. All these plastic signs, they'll be gone off these buildings, right? You get 110 to gust to 140, 150 in here, you're going to have a lot of damage, right? All these signs, they'll be gone. They'll be ripped off. And all these poles will be on the ground. Not all of them, but a lot of them will be. And these are going to be missile debris after dark. All these signs, power lines, these trees, these will all be missile debris, right? Flying through the air at about 140 miles an hour. All these signs will come ripping off these buildings. So like I said, if it gets higher than, if it's a Cat 4 or 5, don't think it's going to be 5, but if it's a mid Cat 4, I'm leaving Perry. I will not stay in this town because it's just too critical. You'll get trapped here. Even if I stay safe and I get, behind a building and not have, and survive that without damage to the vehicle or survive it, then there's going to be so many nails with these roofs ripping off. There'll be hundreds of thousands of nails and debris in the road, and you won't be able to drive a block without getting nails in your tire. That's what's going to happen here, right? So once this event happens, because once this thing comes on shore and it passes this area, don't get out and drive until really sunup. And then sunup, there's going to be massive, there's already massive law enforcement here. The National Guard is in Perry. Don't think about looting. Don't think about getting stupid after this hurricane anywhere from here to Georgia. Don't do it. I'm just telling you, the law enforcement's out. They're not going to put up with any BS with people. Don't loot. The people don't want their stuff stolen after they just, worked all their lives and their stores or their homes are destroyed. That's just, you don't want to do that. So anyway, the law enforcement is very heavy. I talked to the state Florida Department of Transportation, the Florida Highway Patrol. They're out here in mass. Okay, guys, I'm telling you, you can't go a block or two without running into law enforcement on a corner intersection somewhere. That's all the way from Tallahassee across the whole Big Bend, the upper Big Bend, all the way to Perry. There are law enforcement and state and National Guard everywhere, right? So as soon as this thing passes, they're rushing in here to all the areas that are affected and start, helping people, right? So that's what's going to happen, right? Between Forestry Department, ambulances, National Guard, airlift. They're going to have helicopters in the air tomorrow morning. I already know that. They'll have many helicopters in the air flying over the most affected areas along the beaches, along the ocean front. If people are trapped out on the ocean and didn't evacuate in the houses or buildings, or if they've got people trapped in buildings, wherever the eye tracks and the heavy damage, between here in Valdosta, back over to Tallahassee, they'll rush in after the winds get down below 40, and those are the areas that will take effect, right? Those are the areas they'll come in first. If you're injured and you're in a house, you will become a high priority, and you'll be on a list. They have an active running list of all the 911 calls at each 911 dispatch, and they prioritize them based on the severity of the call. So if somebody's critically injured in your house and you're trapped, they will not come out till the winds are under 40, but you'll be at the top of the list. If you're not injured but you're still trapped, you'll be kind of a secondary. And but they work that list, and they won't skip you. They'll get to you. But if you get trapped, don't expect they're going to come out in 10 minutes, because they won't. You may be under rubble. I mean, worst case, be trapped in rubble 8 to 12 hours, because it literally will be daylight tomorrow before the office, because they're going to have so much debris to track and try to get through to your location. It will take a lot of work. And if I have 100 trees down between me and your house, and it's a half mile down the road, if I can go on foot, somebody goes on foot, law enforcement or firemen in one of these towns, it's going to take them a half hour, an hour, or longer just to be on foot to get to your residence or your house or your condo or your apartment, right? That's what's going to happen tomorrow, all the way from here all the way up toward Atlanta. I mean, this is going to cover like 250 miles, 100 miles wide, just mass damage, right? It's coming. It's on its way. It's a Cat 3 now. I think it's going to be Cat 4 at landfall. And that Cat 4, it won't say Cat 4 long, but it'll go to Cat 3, and then Cat 2, then Cat 1 as it gets deep into Georgia. So hurricane warnings go all the way up to south of Atlanta there. So it's going to go way north of Macon. So that's what's coming. So it's a Cat 3, and I will tell you, just in the last hour since I've been here, just last hour, we went from high cirrus, and now the low clouds are coming in. They're thickening up, and good thing is the temperature's dropped a couple degrees since it's getting cloudy, and the clouds are picking up faster and faster to the west because we're just starting to get into the higher winds, or obviously a couple hundred miles southwest of me, but the higher winds are starting to increase above the surface, and they're going that way. And as soon as you start getting convection in here, then you start getting these 50, 70 mile an hour wind gusts down right to the surface. So that's the kind of an update from Perry, Florida. And right now, I think we're going to be just east of the eye, and we'll see how this plays out as we get after dark. But like I said, if this thing's a Cat 4 or Cat 5 or Cat 4 anyway, I'm probably going to leave Perry. I won't stay in Perry. It's too dangerous, honestly, to stay here. You want to be able to get out of Perry. I won't be in a car wash either. So. Yeah, so radar fix from my friends in Tampa, TV stations down there. They're saying in northeast at like 26 miles an hour now. So it continues to speed up. Look at that eye. Look how good that looks. It's getting better organized, right? Look at all those little appendages off the back south of St. P there. Yeah, this thing is really spinning. Yeah, lots of convection around this thing. Let's see how high the eyes are now. The echo top's probably 30. Oh, wow. I'm actually shocked. Wow, that's extremely impressive. 50,000 foot echo tops. That's very, very impressive on the eastern eyewall. Wow, that's boy, I'll tell you what, you talk about bringing some bad stuff to the ground. That will absolutely do it. You get 50,000 foot eyes, echo tops. My goodness, those are really big echo tops. This is not, I had during Wilma, when we had a trough coming in during Hurricane Wilma down south here in the Everglades. We had a trough kind of like this one. We had a trough coming in on the western eyewall, and we had some 55,000 foot tops in the western eyewall during Wilma. And that thing, oh my gosh, I had furniture blown out of the 5-story, 8-story condo down in Naples, and south of Naples down there, and blowing out the 7th and 8th floor furniture was blowing through the building out the window. When the back wall hits, the back wall at Wilma was just super vicious. The north side, northeast, east, southeast side, and this whole corridor, kind of like this quadrant right here, will be super, super mega wicked with this thing as it comes up in this corner up here. You can see where it's at from us. Let's see how far it is south of us now. It's a north eye wall is 210, about 8 hours out, roughly 8 to 10 hours. 10 hours is 220 miles an hour, so it's about 8 to 9 hours out right now from landfall. I'd say between 8 and 10 o'clock, about 8 o'clock to about 8 to 9 o'clock. It should be making landfall somewhere just kind of in this Big Bend area. Maybe right here. It might be right here. It might be right here. Just in this general area where it'll make landfall. Yep. So anyway, that's kind of an it right now from Perry, Florida. We're just waiting for it. See what happens. We're just being patient, and then we'll adjust either west, east, or north, or sit right here in Perry and wait for it to come at us, but it's on its way. That's it from this location. I'm located in Perry. This is Perry, Florida. Perry, see? Perry. That's where I'm at right now. Perry, Florida. Right? Yep. Perry, Florida. All right, guys, that's it. Everybody behave and listen to the warnings and go to the lower shelter when these bands, these high wind bands, come on shore. We'll give you more. We'll give you more updates as it gets closer. Probably closer to that 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock time frame. We'll give you more updates then. Okay. Thank you, guys. We appreciate your help.